Hi, I'm Euge Valovirta and my summer vacation 2021 is over. First video Q&A, since I've gotten so much questions from you, which I really appreciate a lot. Thanks for your interest. So I'm gonna answer to the most common ones that have been popping out, regularly. What strings I use and what gauges? I use DR strings, and I use basically three different gauges. 10 to 52 tight fit. These I use on standard E and drop D tunings. On my Telecaster I use 2046 because that just seems to work with that guitar, the Tokai Tele. But on all the other guitars, if I'm in a standard E or drop D tuning or E flat and drop D flat tuning, then it's the tight fit 10 to 52. Then I use tight fit 10 to 56. These I use in standard D / drop C and standard D flat / C sharp and drop B, these strings mainly. Then I use DDT 12 to 60. These I use also on standard C sharp / drop B tunings, but mostly I use these in standard C, which is Cyrus main tuning, and drop tuning of that is drop B flat. And I also use these in standard B / drop A, which is another Cyrus tunings. Sometimes I've used 13 to 65 set in the studio for those drop A songs, but live especially it's just this one set. What picks do I use? I use three different picks. The Tortex, Dunlop Tortex 1.14, the purple one. This is my main pick. I use this on electric guitars. For acoustic guitars I use the yellow one, yellow Tortex by Dunlop, which is 0.73 millimeters. I just like how this feels and sounds with an acoustic, especially when the strumming, since this is quite flexible. For bass I use Dunlop Tortex 1 millimeter. I think it's the blue one. These are Syra picks that we got from Dunlop, but these were 1 millimeter, so these are a little bit too thin for me to play with electric guitar, but I really like to use these for bass, just like how they feel. How do I set my guitars, the neck and pickup height and string height? Do I have any numbers? No, I just go by a feel, the sweet spot, like on everything. So the way I set up the neck is that I press on the last fret here. In this case it's 22nd. If you have 21 fret or 24, then you press there, and then on the first fret. And when you check this out, there should be tiny amount of space between. So that means that the neck is like on the sweet spot. If there's too much space, the neck is like this, then you need to tighten it up. And if there isn't any space, it means that the neck is like this, so then you need to loosen up the neck. But anyway, that doesn't really matter as long as it's, if it rings on all places, then it's good. The string height, how I set it, I first check the neck and then set the strings that they are, it's easy to play and that it rings on all the places, so there's no dead spots, and also when I'm bending because this radius is pretty flat, but let's say old Strats where it's kind of, you know, curvy, so you need to take that, remember that, because when you bend, if the strings are too close, it might, you know, hit a dead spot, because it's the radius, it isn't that flat. So that's one thing to remember. And if you can't, no matter what you do, if there is a dead spot somewhere, then it's usually, like I'm gonna show you, the frets are beginning to wear out. I have a dead spot here on this one, because it's the frets are really worn out, so I need to take this to a guitar tech, probably Eric Studer from Musics. If he could, you know, what's the word, sand the frets, you can do a lot by that, but then if that doesn't help, you know, it's time for a fret change. So there's one dead spot here, and no matter what I do, I can't get rid of it, but I can see, because apparently I've been playing a lot here, so the frets are really worn out. The pickup height, again, the sweet spot. So if the pickups are too close to the strings, I feel that they are, I don't know, dominating a little bit too much. If they're too low, it's kind of weak. So I play, then I just find the sweet spot where the pickup is picking up my sound like I want. It's feel thing. It's not as much of a sound, but the feel. You know, when I do certain things, I want the pickup to pick up my sound a certain way. So it depends on guitar. I mean, this, I don't know, you can see, I like this. On this one, it seems to be that they are a little bit lower, and on this one, it's actually really close. So it totally depends on the guitar, the strings, the tuning. And then when I set up the bridge pickup, then I just set up the neck pickup so that they are balanced, so that, you know, there's not much of, you know, volume difference or that. But I mean, neck pickup, with a neck pickup, it's always going to be a little bit more fatter, you know, because it's closer to the neck. So just to find a balance. No measurements, no idea, I'm not a numbers guy. If it sounds good and feels good, it's good. What is my signal chain when I record, when I do the videos? I pretty much always tell that when I've done a video, but that's been asked so many times that let me go through it. Guitar, cable. Then it goes to the pedal board. And I got back from a holiday yesterday, and I brought a little bit bigger board from Sweden. So let me actually zoom in on that, so I will tell you and show you. Okay, so it should zoom here. It looks a bit complicated, but it's very simple, and I usually use only one pedal at a time. So the signal goes from guitar here to a tuner. Then it goes to wah-wah. I use wah on my left, so I've always had the wah on the left side of the board. From the wah, it goes here to the input of a G-Lab switcher. Live I don't use it, but in the studio it's cool, because whenever I, you know, choose a pedal, then all the others are bypassed. So there's no unused pedals in the signal chain. And then I have 6 loops in there. On loop 1, I have a MXR EVH Phase 90. Loop 2, Bass SD1, which I use pretty much always. JHS Bonsai, which is a fantastic Swiss army of tube screamers. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 9 different tube screamers, and TS10 is actually one of my favorites. I like that a lot. Then EQ. This is cool also as a boost. As you can see from the curve, it's like mid boost, kind of like, you know, Kerry King. So these 3 are, you know, main boosts, which I
mostly use the SD one. Then on loop 5, I have a chorus. So, and everything is preamp before the amp. Nothing is in the loop. I mean, these old Marshalls, they don't even have a loop. Then on loop 6, it's decimator. So let's say I engage ZV plus SD. Then it's the Zag Wild Head plus SD, loop 2 and loop 6. So the decimator is always on, and that just cuts the hiss from the overdrive pedals. Simple. Okay, and then from the output here, it goes to this Wampler DB booster / buffer, which is cool to have, you know, especially on clean sound. So if you just want a little bit more from the amp, and it doesn't change the sound at all. It just, you know, it's a really cool boost. And there's buffer, which I usually actually have on, because there's, you know, lots of cables, even though the looping system, you know, thing, but it just kind of adds a little bit shine when the buffer. I mean, this has a buffer too, but this is, I really like this. So this is, the buffer is basically on. I mean, it's not big of a deal. If you see my videos, you know, on many videos I don't have that. But now when I have a real estate, I thought to incorporate it, and I'll keep it always on. It's cool. And from there, here, this is output. The signal goes to this KAG Audio Electronics amp switcher. And I can choose the amps here. I have programmed 5 amps. 84 Bad Boy, Zag Wild, Plexi, 5150, and the Blue Guitars Amp 1 Iridium, which is here. And if I want to use these two, I just unplug this MIDI cable, and then I can do the switching also here. Then, from this output, cabinet / load output, it goes to this Soundtrack React IR, reactive load, where I mostly use my signature IR Valovirta. It's based on an oversized Mesa Boogie cab with B30s, mic with 3 different mics into high quality mic preamp, done by Jens Bogren. Link in the description to Bogren digital site. You know, if you use, that's an affiliate link. If you use that link, you'll get a discount. I think it's 10% discount from all of their products. Cool. And yeah, Blue Guitars one, I have also affiliate links in the description. All Blue Guitar products. I don't remember, I think there isn't a discount now, but if you buy something, I will get a small percentage, which, you know, I'd appreciate a lot. Cool. And then, from the reactive load, actually there's this, so my cabinet is connected here too, so this is a really good attenuator. It's usually 0, but if I just want to jam, you know, with my cabinet, here's basically the volume control. I can have the amps cranked, and then, you know, use this as a volume control, because, you know, the master is 5 at the moment on the Zag Wild Head, so these all, they are loud, because tube amps needs to be played loud to get the power tube, you know, mojo. Okay, and then from here there's 2 outputs, direct out and a impulse response out. Both outputs go to 4 and 5. No, 5 and 6. So I can record a direct signal without an impulse response, and I can add it to my DAW later, but I don't really usually do that, because when I record, you know, I find a good sound, then I commit to that. I basically use the IR out, and usually it's my signature IR, because that just works on everything really well. So yeah, and this, from the audio interface, the signal goes to my computer and into my DAW, which is Cubase. And on the videos, there's no post-processing. I don't do anything in the DAW. Sometimes I use a high cut, like around 11K, because especially this amp has just so much of that. So that's, those really high highs, they're not really part of the sound. It's just, I usually cut those out. It doesn't, it's very cosmetical, but that's the only thing I do when I do amp demos, you know, present different gear, because it wouldn't make sense for me to, you know, edit that later. When I mix, that's another thing, because I have a, you know, bass compressor and a Pultec EQ in the mix bus, which enhances lows and highs a bit, but that's another story. That's only on the intro tracks and so on. And this cable, because there's an radial active DI box behind, so the signal from the G-Lab goes to that DI box, and one signal goes to KHE and one signal goes here, so I can record a DI signal, if I want to use plugins, which I'm basically use that with bass. So I just bypass everything here so that it just goes through and then it goes here. So the DI kind of splits the signal.
Right. One thing I forgot to mention, I usually do have a little bit of room reverb, which I add in Cubase, but it's very unnoticeable. You actually notice when it's out. It's just that you would hear the sound as close as possible than what I'm hearing myself. So I'm monitoring myself with the Genelec speakers, and then I just add a little bit room in the DAW so that you would kind of have the same, so that the sound isn't like in your face, but it's a little bit more spacious or roomy. How loud I'm actually playing here? So this loud.
Then if I add some drums here.
So that's that. And then the cabinet. So that's, whoops, it started to feedback. So that's, that's the setup. All right, that was the Q&A. And again, thanks a lot for your interaction, your questions, your comments. I really appreciate that. I have a long to-do list which you have asked and requested, and I will hopefully do those videos what you have requested. There's a lot of in the style videos, a lot of amp reviews and stuff. I will eventually hopefully have a chance to do these all. And as you saw on my previous video, if you saw that, we are actually now writing and in the pre-production phase of next Syra album, so that will kind of be my main job, so to say, for now. So there's a lot of work to be done, but I'll try to do like 2 to 3 videos per week. Thanks for watching. Please check out the links, my affiliate links and stuff. There's links to Thomann and Amazon. That helps me a lot, and on some of those you will get a discount also. Stay tuned. Thumbs up, subscribe if you like. You know the drill. All the best. See you soon.